Lumya. Capture and escape. 15 ABY. Lumya, age 9. Chapter 1. I ran as fast as I could, stormtroopers hot on our tail. Into K8! Blast him! I yelled to my battle droid. It shot back at the troopers, killing only 1 out of the 10. R4A9, my astromech droid, rolled quickly along beside me. They're gaining on us, Into K8 said, blasting another trooper. I looked back, dodging shots from the troopers' blasters. 8 left. Keep shooting and running, I yelled back, bringing out my swords, one in my right hand, the other in my left, and deflecting blasts. Why didn't I whip out my lightsaber? I thought, deflecting a blast. It deflected back into a stormtrooper. 7. I turned around and ran for a wrecked AT-AT. Once I got inside with Into K8 and R4A9, I slipped my swords back into their holders and listened for the troopers. I signaled silently to the droids to go hide, and then I joined them. The troopers didn't come for another 15 minutes, but they had called for backup. I saw that the 7 had gained 13 more troopers, making 20 troopers. I signaled to Into K8 to not fire. It would give our hiding spot away. Search everywhere, an undiscovered voice said. She must be here somewhere. The one with the voice climbed into view. Darth Khan, I whispered in fear and clamped my hand over my mouth. Who's there? A stormtrooper said, coming over my way, blaster pointed above where I was hidden. Set to stun, the Khan demanded. I want her alive. She has information I need. The troopers' blasters all clicked to stun mode. I did have the information. All of a sudden, R4A9 started going crazy. I motioned for him to be quiet, but he rolled to me, drawing troopers towards my hiding spot. A trooper closed in on Lumya and R4A9, followed by the rest of the troopers and a Khan. A Khan used the Force to move what Lumya was hiding behind, revealing her. 3 troopers shot a stun beam, only 1 hitting her. She collapsed to the ground, Into K8 climbing out of his hiding spot, only to be hit by an energy bolt, powering him down temporarily. The same was for R4A9. Good work, RK-4721, a Khan said to the trooper that had stunned Lumya and bolted Into K8 and R4A9. Darth Khan picked up Lumya and ordered troopers to take the droids to a detention cell for droids and disarm them. They boarded an Imperial Star Destroyer and went their separate ways. The droids powered up in cell block D-23, unarmed. We have to escape, Into K8 said to R4. R4 chirped back, agreeing. But how? Into K8 asked. R4 chirped back again, saying they should figure a way out. So they sat and thought. Meanwhile, in another cell, Lumya woke to restraints holding her hostage and her weapons nowhere in sight. An armed trooper stood guard. Chapter 2. I struggled to free myself, not showing my fear. A Khan walked into my cell, dismissing the stormtrooper. Good, you're awake, he said, walking around so I could see him. Bring me 3 troopers, he said into a comlink. Why do you need troopers? You're here, I said, scared. He stared at me. I felt uncomfortable. The troopers arrived at the door. Reporting for duty, sir, the trooper in front said. A Khan finally answered me. You're my guest. He undid my restraints and signaled the troopers to surround me. He led us through a maze of winding hallways. He finally stopped at a door and opened it, revealing a long table guarded by 4 more stormtroopers. A Khan sat at the far end and motioned for me to sit across from him. He stood up and told an assistant to bring us calamari water and dew cake. He also said something else, but I couldn't hear it. He sat down and I looked for an escape route. Don't even try, he said. This room is extremely secured, and if you try to escape, my troopers will stun you again. He must have sensed what I was doing. The assistant brought out our calamari water and dew cake. I picked up the water and took a sip. It was smooth, but had a funny taste to it. I sat down my water and picked up my dew cake. It was sweet and had a lot of moisture. Too sweet. I finished the cake and my water. Where is the Republic base? A Khan asked. I was suddenly very tired. It's on the planet Kamar, I said. I gasped and clamped my hand over my mouth. Ava Bush Spice, I said, surprised. I told you she would give us what we needed, a Khan told a stormtrooper. Now, take her back to her cell. The troopers jerked me up from my seat and took me back to my cell, locking the restraints back into place. That was the last thing I remember before everything went black. Darth Khan stormed into the control room with an evil smirk on his face. Set course for the Kamar system, he said. The Padawan has given me what we need. Admiral Shan, the head admiral, typed in the coordinates. We're set on course, sir, he said to a Khan. The fleet will attack from the sky 30 minutes after we deploy our ground forces, a Khan said. We will destroy the planet, one city, village, and settlement at a time. He looked up. And the Republic will feel the power of the Galactic Empire. Chapter 3. I woke up to tightened restraints and 2 stormtroopers standing guard of my cell. I should have known he would use Avabush spice on me. It's one of his favorites for interrogation. I struggled in my restraints, trying to get free. The troopers looked my way. There's no use trying to get free, one said. We were ordered to tighten them so much that a Jedi Master couldn't escape, the other growled. I closed my eyes. There has to be a way to get free. I opened my eyes and spotted my weapons in the top left corner of the cell. If only I could get out of these restraints. I closed my eyes again and began to concentrate very hard. So hard I started to get a headache. I've got it. I relaxed. You will release me and escort me to where my droids are, but not as a prisoner. The trooper to my left walked to my side. Excuse me? I calmed myself and looked at the wall directly ahead of me, able to focus on both troopers at the same time. I took a deep breath and tried again. You will release me and escort me to where my droids are, but not as a prisoner. The troopers straightened up. We will release you and escort you to where your droids are, but not as a prisoner, they said in unison. I heard a click, and my restraints clicked open. I grabbed my weapons and hid them so I could carry them, but they would be concealed. I was then escorted by the troopers to the droid detention cell D-43. You will open the cell door, I said to the stormtroopers. We will open the cell door, they said in unison. The door clicked open, and N2K8 looked up. I told you we would find a way to escape R4A9, N2K8 said, the astromech chirping excitedly. I turned back to the stormtroopers. You will leave us and forget that you set us free, I said. We will leave you and forget that we set you free, they said, and turned, walking down the hallway and out the door. I looked back at my droids, which were just sitting in the cell. Come on, I said. If we're going to escape, we need to move, not sit around waiting for the next patrol to go by. They climbed out of the cell, the door closing behind them. I tossed N2K8 his blaster, I found it outside the droid's cell, and pulled out a sword. I signaled to the droids to stop. A patrol of troopers came around the corner. I flattened against the wall behind a thick metal bar, but it was too late. They had spotted me. Hey, it's the prisoner! Set to stun, one yelled to the rest of the patrol, and I started deflecting stun blasts. I heard the fire of a blaster set to kill, and 3 troopers fell to the ground. N2K8 drove back the remaining 5 troopers, and I grabbed a blaster from a fallen trooper. I set to kill. I shot towards the group of troopers, hitting 2. N2K8 got 2 more. The last one surrendered. We opened the cell the droids were in and locked him in there. We snuck past another 2 stormtrooper patrol groups by using my force abilities to levitate the droids and myself. We found the escape pods. There was only enough room for 2 in a pod, so I put N2K8 in the first pod with R4A9 and told them to meet me at a certain pair of coordinates. I found another pod and typed in the coordinates, launching just before a stormtrooper spotted me in the pod. I let out a sigh of relief and relaxed in my seat. I jumped as a TIE fighter screamed by my pod, blasting at me as I flew along. I put my deflector shield up and started firing back at the fighter. After a minute or so of the fighter chasing me around the star system we were in, I finally hit it, and it exploded into nothingness. I contacted the rebel leader, Leia Organa, and almost wasn't able to get through to her. Kamar is about to be under attack, I warned Leia. I was captured, and they used Avabush spice to get me to talk, but I've escaped. Leia looked worried. I'll get our troops to prepare for attack. I'm aboard a Republic starship in your star system. Report to me as soon as you reach it. I'm sending the coordinates now, she said. Thank you, I replied, and my holocom went blank. I sent the droids the coordinates along with the message, change of plans. Board the Republic starship at these coordinates instead. I'll be there. Chapter 4. Meanwhile, aboard the Imperial Star Destroyer Lumya just escaped from... Sir, the Padawan has escaped, a stormtrooper reported to Darth Akan. What? Akan replied, force-choking the trooper. He stormed to her cell, leaving the trooper lying on the ground, dead. So, Lumya, he said to himself, you've escaped this time. Next time you'll be dead before you can escape. He activated his saber and started ripping the walls of the cell with the glowing red blade. I'll find you, and next time you will die, he said. He activated his comlink and called into the headquarters and control room and said, Deploy ground forces as soon as we reach Kamar, and stormed out of the cell. I reached the starship just after I spotted the droids pulling into the landing bay. I flew my pod into the landing bay and got off. Leia greeted me, the droids with her. We must prepare for battle on Kamar, I said. Leia nodded. We must defeat the Empire,